Good night, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the panelists and our guest this evening. I am Shirlyn Eleanor, the Marketing and Communications Manager at Invest St.Lucia. Tonight's event is brought to you by Boost, and I just want to give you a snapshot of what it's all about. Boost is a virtual incubator and accelerator program that will encompass a virtual community of strategic partners, startups, entrepreneurs, and business-minded individuals working together to transform the entrepreneurship landscape even further. Part of the overall program will feature a series of events, webinars, and panels. One of those events is the Women Empowered in Business Web, and the name speaks for itself on the focus of the series. So tonight is history in the making as we host the first ever discussion under the web series umbrella. And the theme for today's episode, the first episode, is the current challenges for women in business entering a virtual space. Typically, women are on the shorter end of proven gender disparities in society, the economy, and culture. So some difficulties that women face, especially in business and the labor force in general, are evident in St. Lucia too. So for example, there's still an average of 10% pay gap between men and women, according to the International Labour Organization, the 2018 Gender and Work in the Caribbean report. But in 2020, the entrepreneurship landscape has drastically changed, and the playing field is leveled by everyone experiencing the same shutdowns and economic tragedies. Today, we're going to discuss how these changes, especially with the partial exodus to the digital world, have influenced or changed women in business. So with that said, let me introduce you to tonight's panel. Latoya Lewis, Glamour Art by Toya. Toya, as she's affectionately known, is a St. Lucian beauty born and raised in Raidry, Groseilliers. She is a trained and certified MAC cosmetics specialist, dedicated to developing a name for herself. Having realized her talent and potential as a makeup artist, along with her nurtured love for the craft and the demand for professional makeup artists on the island, Latoya decided to start a makeup artistry brand called Glamour Art by Toya. Welcome, Latoya, and thank you for joining us. Zinaida, McNamara, Phillip, Big Z, Legends Carnival Band, Exotic Events, Executive Producer, Attorney at Law. Zinaida, very well known as Big Z, was born in the beautiful Caribbean island of St. Lucia, where she currently resides and works as an attorney at law with McNamara and Company Chambers. She's a Carnival Band director and owner of Legends Carnival Band, an event promoter for exotic events, and she recently added under her belt, producer of the Big Mood Rhythm. Thank you for being here tonight, Zinaida. Marissa Marcus, Mantra Juices. Marissa Marcus is a co-founder of Mantra Juices, a business that promotes a healthy lifestyle through the consumption of cold-pressed juices. Marissa has always wanted to make a positive impact in her society. She has found a passion for health that sparked her idea to pursue it professionally. Without any experience in business development, she decided to take the leap into entrepreneurship. Having a sociology background played an integral part in developing her analytical thinking, identifying market opportunities, and developing better public relations. Her big idea has become a reality and introduced her to new people and the world of business. She's currently in her final year of the University of the West Indies in pursuance of a BSc in sociology. She's keen on personal and professional development and holds certificates in child protection, early childhood development for sustainable development, and marketing management. Welcome, Marissa, and thank you for putting Boost on your debut agenda. So tonight's agenda will start with 25 minutes on the panel discussion, and then we'll have 10 minutes for the Q&A session. So attendees, you can ask your questions in the chat room at any time on your right. Be sure to label your question by clicking the circle next to the text and seeing the red Q appear. Also, feel free to fill out any various polls you may see popping up during the discussion. So let's get started. With our first question, we want to know, so women are sometimes underrepresented in some of the entrepreneurial sectors in St. Lucia and by extent the Caribbean. But instead of starting and focusing on being underrepresented, let's speak of those who are representing, our ladies are representing. So we want to hear from each of you. Can you give us an example of something in your work where you have felt that it is actually an advantage to be a woman? So we will start with Toya.
Well, I'm in the beauty field, so that in itself is an advantage. Being a makeup artist, being in the beauty field, you find there are a lot of female makeup artists, and only now in 2020, maybe 2018 into 2020, male makeup artists started emerging. So being a female in my field of work is actually a plus because it's easier for you to maybe create looks on yourself and show off your work and your skill because you are a woman. So yeah, in itself, my job is really a female generator, a female. You find more females get into this field. It's the beauty industry is, I think, is mainly made up of women, actually, makeup artists. We have a few male makeup artists now, but it's mainly made up of females, women.
Thank you, Toya. Rightfully said, rightfully said. And then we're going to switch over to Marissa, which is a totally different industry. And we know you're starting up, but you could share with us some experience that you have that it's actually an advantage to be a woman.
When we look at gender stereotypes over the years, you find the role of a woman is known to be in the kitchen. The idea for Man introduces sparks from my health, and I had to take a healthier lifestyle, and it started in the kitchen. So despite not being a traditional woman, I had to learn to get comfortable there, and my products are created there. So we also have the ability to multitask. I mean, I'm studying, have a full-time job, and started a new business. We're resilient no matter what life throws at us. So I would say that in my line of business, being a woman is indeed an advantage to me.
Wow, we have some super women on here tonight. So let's hear from you, Zinaida. You can choose the industry and give us an example to suit. So you can go ahead and unmute your mic, and let's hear from you. Okay, your mic is muted, Zinaida.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yes, okay. So I'm good in everything else, just not technology. But good evening, everybody. I'm really happy to be here with you all. So I was thinking, as you said, I wasn't sure which one to start off with in terms of my industries, but maybe we start at the basics, and how I entered the business industry on a whole was when I started practicing as an attorney. And I wouldn't want to say that being a woman was necessarily gave me any advantages, because in anything that I do, I'd want it to be fair as an attorney at law, and the legal profession is all about fairness and justice. But I can say that the women that are in my industry are certainly, we come together and they're very strong-minded, and they certainly rise to the occasion at all times. So that's been great. To have other females in my profession has been a great advantage, because I know it's not something that's certainly very popular. But in my other industries, for instance, events, I would say the advantage of being a woman as it relates to events is just having an eye for the details. I notice I've been very lucky enough again to work with some very, very professional, very creative, very, brilliant women in terms of events. And when it comes to the things that we do and we execute, you always find us focusing on the experience and ensuring that the details, the small things, we're just more refined. We're more strategic. We're more logistical. So, as I say, with with men, yes, they do. I have lots of team members who are men, and they play their part. But I just feel like when it comes to events and the roles that women play in events, it's just always a nicer touch, just that little sprinkle on top.
Thank you, Zinaida, and definitely great to hear that you actually learned from other women, other professional women.
Mhm.
And yes, we do have an eye for detail. This is not a movement, but it's just the truth.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to another topic area, and we want to hear from you with regards to setting up a business. Have you been in a situation where you are not being taken seriously? So do you think it had anything to do with your sex? And if so, how did each of you deal with it? So we'll start again with Toya, and you would, because, you know, and I'm so happy that we have a cross section of industries tonight. So this is just about your experience in setting up a business. And if you were not taken seriously, you know, how did you deal with it? And did you think it had to do with you being a female?
I'll be very honest with you. In the beginning, when I decided to start a makeup business, I wasn't taken seriously at all. People were telling me, that was about 10 years ago, people were telling me, oh, find a proper job. This is not the field for you. How are you going to survive? How are you going to make money? And I still get those questions when people come to get their face done. The first thing they ask me, is that all you do? Like, as if this cannot sustain you, or you can't move forward and progress in such a position or a job, or having this sort of business. And the way that our world has evolved, makeup is actually on the priority list of anybody who is either attending an event, getting married, a special occasion. That is the first thing they think of now, because of where we're at in the world with all the social media and the way that the world has progressed. But I remember people either laughing at me making the decision to start a brand, a makeup brand, people telling me, oh, I'm crazy to think, you know, this can't even work. How am I going to make money, survive, build? How is this even going to survive and work in the Caribbean? Because they thought that this was an American thing, or outside of the Caribbean, people were doing this, but not here. And I'm so happy that that's not the case now. But I did get the little, what really are you thinking, even trying to do this? Even friends of mine back in the day, they were like, Toya, I think that's a mistake. You need to focus and get you a proper job, because this won't cut it. But luckily for me, I stood my ground, and I followed my instincts and my dreams, and I made it work. I made it work as best as I could.
Thank you, Toya. And yes, and you forgot birthdays and photo shoots, and I have a birthday coming up, so do your thing.
Everything.
And I needed you before I went on the set tonight. So let's hear from you, Marissa, with the mantra juices and your experience in being taken seriously, if you think it had anything to do with you being a female, and how did you deal with that?
Well, we're a startup business, so I can't say that I've experienced any gender-based discrimination while setting up, at least not as yet, and hopefully I don't, but I know it's something that we will encounter. Okay, so it's something you're already preempting, and maybe we should find a solution before we actually get the problem. So if you're posed with a situation like that, how do you think you will handle it or deal with it? I mean, just, you know, out of your head, or an example of how you think you'll deal with it. Well, luckily for me, my full-time job I work is dominated by men, so I am used to dealing with situations like that. Okay, great. So then you're ready for out there, basically. Okay, so Zinaida, let's hear from you. And again, you know, give us the different example across the different sectors.
Well, I would have to say that I experienced it most recently when entering the executive production arena, and purely because I believe that it is not there's very little female presence as it relates to that particular area in the industry. And I don't know. To be quite honest, I was very oblivious to it at first because I was just like, listen, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make this successful. And thank God I had the confidence to believe in myself and the product that I was putting out in terms of the Big Mood Rhythm. But I then eventually heard about it later and also noticed that, people were either very skeptical as to whether or not I could perform and put out a successful project, but as well as that, they undermined my efforts and the roles that I played. Actually, the task that I took on and the responsibility in making the whole project, because I did it from start to finish. And my husband, Phillip, he's obviously in the arena, and it was really by virtue of just him being home listening to music that I said, wow, I really like this particular rhythm. And then he just said, well, go ahead, do your thing. And it was also a call for me to prove to my husband that, yes, I am very capable. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. And once I knew that I had an interest in it, so I went ahead. Now, where the criticism came afterwards, because, I was riding on the big mood high with my big mood. And, I realized that it came back to me that people were like, oh, well, husband is a DJ, husband is a producer, so he just probably do all the work and just put a name on it. It was nothing like that because, again, I wanted to prove myself to him as well. So I made sure I did every aspect. I did everything. I got involved in all the nitty gritty. I was in the studio. I picked the rhythm. I picked the artist. I picked the graphics. I was involved in the mix and mastering, every single. So I could tell you what it is that had to occur in order to make this thing successful. And even when in my interviews, I can say as well, I got certain questions that, certain DJs would probably try and catch me out to ask, well, what about this and the mix and mastering and stuff? And I was able to answer because I was confident and I knew what I was doing. And so I would say from that, in terms of empowering each other, definitely know what you're about, because there are people out there who will try to certainly question your abilities, and that happened in that particular instance more than anything before. My other industries, my legal profession, I haven't necessarily been discriminated upon with theirs, thank God. And in terms of my events, I think, as I say, the men that I've worked with recognize my capabilities and my talents. So there's no such for crossing me there either. So, it was just basically, and I have to say, because it was such a new thing to a lot of people, they didn't appreciate that it could really be done. But, hey, I'm here to set the pace and do what I have to do. And I'm very grateful for that, just the opportunity. But I wasn't really aware of it until after the fact.
Oh, thank you for that, Zinaida. Actually, I'm so happy you chose that example, because that would be the first one that would pop in my head in producing the rhythm. What would be, your feedback and any, being a female and coming into that arena. So thank you for that and for actually clearing that up. Thank you, ladies, so much. We do have a question from the audience, so we'll take, it's actually for you, Marissa. There's somebody who would like to know if you could tell us a little bit about the experience of getting the ring that happened 2 days ago as a female speaking to start up your business. So they would like to know how the experience was for you. So maybe you could just, shed a little bit of light about your experience on getting the ring this week.
It was a bit nerve-wracking. I'm not that much of an outgoing person. So being put in front of a camera and having judges in front of you, it was very intimidating. Luckily, I was a part of the final 6, and out of the 6 finalists, 4 were actually women. That's compared to last year. I think there were 8 finalists and only 2 were women. So speaking about my business, Mantra Juices was basically, my health was what promoted it. And I found that the first round, the judges were more they had more women on the judges table. So my story actually went forward a bit more, and when it came to the final, there were more men on the judging panel. So it really intimidated me, thinking, hey, they're not going to understand what Mantra Juices is really about and all of that. But it was an experience.
Thank you for sharing with us, Marissa. Okay, ladies, we're going to take a 1 minute break. We're actually going to bring on one of our partners and sponsors, Miss Faye Dubois from SBDC. So what she's going to share with us tonight is some of their services at SBDC. And yes, it's another female, so we are representing tonight, or maybe taking over, I don't know. So we're gonna take a 1 minute break, and Faye's just gonna share with us just a short presentation. We're trying to also educate the local audience on services that are available for entrepreneurs so that they can take advantage on that. So we will now welcome Miss Faye Dubois from SBDC. Presentation. Okay. But I have the mic on that. So just sorry about that. That's no protocol.
Hi, good night, everybody.
Good evening.
It's okay.
As Charlene said, my name is Faye Dubois, and I'm currently attached to the Small Business Development Unit, which you may better know as SEDU. This is within the Ministry of Commerce. At the unit, we are committed to developing micro and small enterprises. As everyone knows, a small business has a potential to create and expand employment opportunities, develop entrepreneurial skills, enhance market opportunities, and engage in export promotion and import substitution. In order to achieve this, we at SEDU offer a range of services to small business owners. This includes registering your business, long-term consulting, and training, such as guidance, market research, resolution, that results in real economic impact for St.Lucia. As it relates to registration of a small business, the SEDU furnishes clients with what we call a statutory declaration, which has to be signed by a GP before you can move on to register your company. So I'll go through the process with you. Currently, we're trying to follow the protocol for COVID. So we're encouraging persons not to come to the office. Everything can be done online. So for example, you have a business idea and you want to act on it and make it official. So first thing you will do is think of an appropriate business name. You log on to the Commerce website, you go down to resources, and in the drop box, you will see a section named Forms. There you will find the business name search form. You will fill out this form with your proposed business name. There are 3 options. You could put in 3 different names. They will approve whichever one is appropriate for you, because you cannot have a name similar to another or same as another. So you will get an email from registrar companies. You email ROSIP, info@ROSIP. The website is on the screen. You will email, and as long as you get a response, you go back to resources, you find our client intake form, and you fill that out also. Once this is complete, so now you will have your client intake form complete, as well as your approval from registrar companies. You take a photo or scan copy of your ID card. We want front and back to ensure that you're dealing with a person and not anything fraudulent. And then you forward all this to SBDC St. Lucia, full name SAINTLUCIA St. Lucia @govt.lc. Once you receive this at the unit, we will go through it, ensure everything is completed, give you a call, and let you know when to come and pick up your statutory document. This must be signed by the JP. This is where you go to the JP. You get it signed, stamped in his presence. You get a $2.50 stamp from the post office and carry your $100.25 and return to register your companies. This is submitted there. You are informed when to return for your certificate, which should take no more than 2 days. As long as you have your certificate in hand, you provide us with a copy as well as one of the statutory documents that you have, and then you enjoy the benefits of becoming a SEDU client. Thank you.
Thank you, Faye. Thank you for spending the evening with us. And I hope everyone, both all our panelists, our guests on, are a little more enlightened after Faye's presentation. So thank you again. So we have a few more questions, ladies, not too many, just one or two or three. So we cannot ignore what is going on in the world today. So we want to hear from our entrepreneurs, our female entrepreneurs. Given the pandemic era that we are living in now, has COVID-19 changed your business, and how have you handled it? And maybe in Marissa's case, we can say, setting up in the time of COVID, how are you handling that? So let's hear from Toya how the pandemic has probably changed or not changed her business and how she handled that.
I remember when the news was already there, but I remember when it really hit St. Lucia. That was after International Women's Day. I had an amazing week of clients, and I remember the week after that, it was like, oh my God, COVID is in St. Lucia. Like, business for me immediately got super slow. I wasn't working I didn't have any clients for maybe 2 months. And then I did this thing called a C-Note Summer Special. Didn't think that people would gravitate towards that sort of deal, getting a full face for $100. I had to get creative in trying to ensure that I am still working, because this is all I do. Apart from having my lash line and now coming out with my lip gloss line, makeup was solely my income generator. And I had to now even be more aggressive with social media, posting, constantly updating, getting creative with my lives, my Toya Tuesday lives. And I had a chance to take some things into consideration, and things that I've been procrastinating on and wanting to do for a long time. I started doing like my YouTube channel. And I just had to be super, super smart and super creative. Especially, we have this free thing, this free app, social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I decided to be a bit more aggressive on marketing my business to ensure that I get more clients and I'm always working.
Sorry. Okay, so you spent more time in your YouTube channel, which you probably ignored when you were busy. And also you got more creative and you implemented more digital marketing, virtual marketing. So what was the response or engagement from maybe new clients or existing clients, in your opinion?
The C-Note Summer Special was well received. I had it on for 3 months. So I started on the 15th of June and it was supposed to end on the 15th of August. But I decided to, be my own marketing manager. When you're as a small business owner and as an entrepreneur, you tend to have a lot of hats. You tend to be your marketing PR, your finance manager. You wear so many hats. So I had to put on my marketing hat, and I said to myself, should I keep this on? Because it was so well received, I decided to make it a birthday special. So moving forward, for your birthday, you get a beat from me for $100 until I decide not to do it anymore. It was well received by people to the point where sometimes I don't even have space for my regular clients. And I know Zinaida had that issue with me one time. She called me to do her piece and I was so busy I could not even even fit her in, and I always do her makeup. So it was very, very well received, and I'm still very busy. So I'm happy I was able to, sit back, take everything in and turn the negative into a positive, because, everybody's now out of a job. Well, a lot of people are out of jobs, and people are finding ways to bring revenue income into their household. I'm just very thankful that I've been able to work and be busy even during this time.
Thank you, Toya. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to Zinaida now. And we know people are just waiting to get out there on the boat rides and all of that. But I want to ask you, how has the pandemic actually changed your business, or if it has, and how you dealt with it?
Wow. Well, yes. I mean, where do I start? Like, there's a list. I would say that the particular industry that I'm involved in that was most impacted would have certainly been my events, and bless Carnival, sweet, sweet Carnival. Wow. Even just saying it is just absolutely incredible how this pandemic has totally hit us for six. Because we were very much in the mode of events. Tickets sold out in like 4 minutes flat. Brazen was the most difficult thing to get a ticket for. Costumes were selling, and you've invested all this money. And then for the pandemic to suddenly reach on our doorstep, it just halted everything to a dead stop, until the point where we don't even know when. I mean, I managed to squeeze in those 2 little events, thank God, because I needed it for myself, as well as I know everybody else, needed to have a good time. And I'm very much about uplifting people and creating good energy and good times. But so with that industry just, coming to a halt, just financially, it's just, I could not explain the blow. It really was quite an experience, nothing that I was ever prepared for. Even down to having to deal with disgruntled, customers who wanted their money back, who, social media giving you every opportunity to say what you feel, when you feel. I mean, even just building some resilience just to, get through that experience. And then having a bit of a calm, because I think everybody got real after a while of like, okay, this is no joke. An event, a carnival is absolutely out of the question. And, what next? And then so just having an opportunity to reflect, and then getting into other spaces. For instance, this is when the music production first came to me. I was at home in COVID, and that's when I got involved at that. So it opened up opportunities for me, because I had a little downtime, as Toya was saying, and it was important to do that because, as well as the whole thing, I mean, as much as I've lost a lot, I've gained a lot, because I've had an opportunity to just sit back for a minute, because I was in overdrive with everything that was going on. But yeah, I would say the carnival and the events took the biggest hit. And even now, trying to restart things, well, we tried. We were successful with 2, and we were well on our way. And I know there were so many other promoters who had their events for even Junior Creole and all these things planned, and having to stop again. So even in trying to restart, it was approaching events from a different angle, because there's all these protocols. You have to be careful of your numbers, even when you're serving food, how you're going about it. It really put things into a different perspective. And you don't want to be held accountable of anybody catching COVID at your fete. So and then suddenly with the uprise, then the stall again. So it's been up, down, up, down, up, down. But certainly, as Toya said, I would certainly agree that I had to very much get aggressive with my marketing virtually, putting myself out there, and working on my brand, more importantly, and exposing myself, interacting with people, and making for instance, the production side of things more interactive, so that people would tune into the music, and also encourage other artists and other producers to get on board. So I got into a very virtual space mentally. I had certain things that I wouldn't do. I had to, get more comfortable with snapping and letting people see me do this and that and all the others, and trying to interact and opening up myself to people. And so with the law side of things, it was a quiet, and all it just meant is that when we got back into office and back into court, we was doing a lot of Zoom court. Zoom court is quite an experience. I'm sure anyone who's had a Zoom meeting is also, you're talking over each other and you always have to stop. So in court, you can only imagine what that is like, but it's an experience. And the fact is that we have to learn to live with these things and we have to move forward. And now it's just overdrive, because even the downtime has affected things so much. With matters that were supposed to be heard, and cases that have to stop, and now we're back on, and the Zoom as well. That's something that not everybody's used to as well. So it's in all my different areas, certainly huge impact. But again, as Toya said, turning the bad into the good, and just getting comfortable with the new space that you're in.
Thank you, Zinaida, and I'm happy that new businesses actually, were forged out of this pandemic, definitely. And we have the questions coming in fast and furious, but we're going to push it to the end. So we want to hear now from Marissa, starting up a new business, because I'm sure you thought you were going to be starting up in a regular marketplace, and now you're setting up in a very new marketplace. So how has that, affected maybe your business plan or what you had planned to do, and how have you handled it up to this point?
COVID actually slowed life down a bit for me, gave me the opportunity to really focus on Mantra. I was able to self-reflect and search for ways to find more fulfillment in life. Because of the lockdowns, I had more time on my hands to fully immerse into developing our business plan. COVID also got a lot of persons more health aware, and everyone was doing at-home workouts and trying to get fit. It also got the conversation going for natural ways to boost your immune system, and got persons more health conscious, which is a perfect environment to introduce full press juices, as it being a healthier option for their lifestyle changes. The pandemic also promoted buying local, and by extension, our local farmers. Everyone is producing now. So it's not that difficult to source produce, but our farmers are yet to explore online marketing, which would make business a lot easier. One issue that we're encountering would just be pricing. A lot of persons have lost their jobs, so you have to make your product affordable for what we're experiencing right now.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you. Actually, ladies, my next question, I think you've answered most of it. So if you want to add anything, feel free to jump in. We were going to ask, with all the changes in 2020 and the changes that 2020 has brought, how have you had to adapt using virtual tools for marketing or reaching out to your target audience, or with Zoom, or like Zinaida mentioned, you doing virtual court? So, we were trying to show the audience, what approach have you taken? I think most of you have actually touched on that. So I don't know if any of you want to add anything, any other virtual tools for marketing or otherwise for business that you actually had to adapt to. So if anybody has anything to add, that anything extra that they did in that time, feel free to wave at me and I'll pull you up. Yeah, I think we touched on it, a lot of it, because now Zinaida is using Zoom much more. Toya is definitely using her YouTube channel, and Marissa is actually talking about online marketing for farmers. So these are actually great areas that I think everybody should be expanding in. Okay, ladies, before we go to the last question, we'll just take a 30-second break, 1-minute break with a word from our sponsors, St.Lucia Development Bank.
If you will leave, where would the winds of change bring you? With hard economic
Hi, good night.
Times ahead, we must think innovation. It may be a startup that focuses on green energy, or an idea a little more daring, bursting with excitement, to tour narrating the beauties of the ocean. With equity financing, SLBB's youth will ensure all the support they need. Get up to $50,000 invested.
Okay, so we'd like to bring on Miss Steffi Alfred from SLDB, and she will just be sharing some of their services that they have available for entrepreneurs at SLDB.
Hi, good night, and thanks for having me in St. Lucia and by extent Boost. I have been following the conversation and I'm loving it so far. So keep up the good work, ladies. So yes, so my name is Steffi Alfred and I am the Youth Enterprise Equity Fund Investment Officer with the St. Lucia Development Bank. And at the St. Lucia Development Bank, we really thrive on the motto affording opportunities for all. I'm in control. Yes, so these are the sectors in which we provide loans. So apart from education and housing and bridging to some extent, we do provide loans for entrepreneurs under all the other sectors and in the form of loans. However, the last one, which is the Youth Enterprise Equity Fund, and that is a fund that I work with, that is really an investment into your business. So with the HEEF, or the Youth Enterprise Equity Fund, you would be able to access up to $50,000 in equity financing. And it is equity financing, which means that we will be part of your business as a preferential shareholder. And that would mean that in the event that you do make a profit, you will be, you will need to pay us back dividends. The 7 years is the time frame that you have to really pay back the $50,000, and it is not a loan in any way, meaning that there is no interest and you do not need collateral. We do offer this to youth primarily, so you need to be between the ages of 18 to 35 to be able to access that particular fund. So the requirements would be individuals, they must be between the ages of 18 to 35, as I said. The projects must be innovative, and that word innovative, we use it loosely to mean that an individual must just try not to be a copycat, try to come up with a product that is different, and yeah, different in our market. The promoter, that we call the individual, must create employment for at least 3 persons, because we do know the situation that it be in the region, especially in St. Lucia, with the level of unemployment, and we want to tackle that problem. The promoter must submit a proposal, and within that proposal, you need to submit a business plan, and in that business plan, financials. If you've been operating, your financials will need to include actuals, meaning your actual statements from at least a year before, and 3 years forecast. And in the investment costing, so if you are requesting the $50,000, what exactly would you want to do with that money, and your resume, so that I could get a feel of who you really are, what you've been up to, and to see whether or not you as an individual, you're ready to really access the fund in a faster at a faster pace than another individual, if it's that you would need additional training. On the note of training, we at the St. Lucia Development Bank, as I said, we look at affording opportunities for all. We look at being able to provide an individual with just an idea, with the opportunity to really access that $50,000. So if it is that you do not necessarily have certain training, we will basically liaise with our partners. We have created linkages with organizations and agencies like SBDC or SEDU, and they are part of, our umbrella, as well as the South Louis Community College, and a whole lot of others. So that, in essence, is the Youth Enterprise Equity Fund. I don't know the age of the women on the panel, but I would hope that some of them, or some women listening, would be able to access this fund in some way. So if you have any further questions, you could contact the bank at 456-7532, or you could contact me directly at 456-7545. 46 is my desk, and my mobile would be 485-7522. So thank you, ladies, and again, continue on the good work. Thank you, Boost. Thank you, Invest.
Well, thanks.
Thank you, Steffi. Great to hear from our gold sponsors tonight, SLDB. Okay, thank you so much again, Steffi. Okay, Steffi, you could just close your window for us once you're done. Thank you. So, ladies, tonight we have just one last question. We're almost done here, and the time flew by. We're having fun. So we have the last question we're going to pose to everybody. Now that the marketplace has gone more digital, do you believe that the market is more equal, and are there more opportunities available to female entrepreneurs? And we can start with you, Toya. I know we have to think about that one a little bit, but let's say now that it's more digital, do you think that it's getting more equal, or there are more opportunities for female entrepreneurs?
I think that we have to create our own avenues for ourselves. I know that sometimes we feel like some fields are more difficult for women as opposed to men. Maybe they get better treatment or preferential treatment in that area. But I'm honestly of the belief that once you work hard and you push yourself, you stay positive, and you push yourself, anything is possible, no matter what field that you would like to be in. Like Zinaida said, she made sure that she got educated on producing music. She didn't have a lot of knowledge of the industry, and she made sure that she came in there, guns blazing and knowing what she was about. So I just feel like in any industry that you would like to get into, you just have to, put your best foot forward, as they say, for lack of a better term. Put your best foot forward, work hard, and just do well. I mean, it could be a situation where you enter into the same industry with another young man. He doesn't push himself and you push yourself hard and you get there. So I just feel like work hard and be innovative and stay positive. Because right now there's a lot of negativity in the world. COVID has created so much fear, and there's so much going on. People are dying. And I feel like being positive it's going to help your mindset because of everything that's happening. So that would be my advice. I had to think about it so quickly. I hope I touched on what I wanted to say. I hope I answered the question too. Did I miss a piece of the question?
No, no. And thank you so much for your encouraging and your positive words. So yes, this is just.
I learned that from Dee, I don't know if she knows that. She's my friend. So she's super, super positive. I've never seen her pissed or upset in the long amount of time that I've known her. So she's one of the people that, like, if I need advice on something, I would call her and she would be super positive. So I get that from her.
Super. So Zinaida, maybe we should hear from you now that you believe that now that the marketplace has gone digital, is it more equal for females, or are there more opportunities available for female entrepreneurs?
Well, that was a hard question. So Toya, you did a great job, friend. I'm right there with you. I think in terms of an equal footing, I think because it as much as it's virtual and you can do so many different things, I guess everyone's starting from the same point. So in that respect, it's equal. You have to create, you have to do that. And it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, it's up to you. And again, I would agree with Toya because whether you're male or female, you need to establish what it is that you want to do. You need to create, you need to pursue actively and, do your best to achieve. Now, as it relates to opportunities, I think it certainly has created opportunities because for instance, as I say, with my own personal experience, I would have never probably gotten into the realm of music production if I didn't really have the opportunity to have the time to do it, because I certainly didn't when I was pre-COVID. And so it's allowed me an opportunity to get into the different space like Marissa. So, you know, it really has, for a lot of people, created opportunity. But as it relates to women's empowerment, I would just, with Toya, just again want to be encouraging to all the women out there that you really, and from my experience, is you really need to start with loving yourself and being confident in what it is that you're doing. And, you know, expecting that even virtually, you may not know everything or the best snap or the best picture. God, I spent hours trying to create a story, just trying to find the right GIF or GIF or whatever. Toya does like the best snaps ever. But you know, it's just having the confidence and still trying to achieve what you are in a different space and going for it, loving yourself, waking up and having the faith in to believe in yourself. So opportunities, certainly, because we're now having to think differently about achieving the things that we want to achieve and doing new things that we're not used to. Whether you're male or female, I would say certainly.
Thank you, Zinaida. And Marissa, let's hear from you. Do you think that it's now more of an equal marketplace, and are there more opportunities for females available now that we're in this digital arena?
Well, I have a different approach. I'm a sociology student, so studying gender roles, relations, inequality is something that I've been doing for the past 3 years. Female entrepreneurs are still minority in the Caribbean. There's lack of institutional support, socioeconomic barriers, limited access to capital. So we typically hold a small to medium-sized business owners. With everything going virtual, we no longer have to deal with gender-biased work or business culture. Working from a virtual setting will level the playing field, but only in the long run. Industries where most women operate are disproportionately affected by the pandemic. Women are facing specific challenges due to balancing work and increased household responsibilities, including childcare, especially with no school now. So some women are bearing more responsibilities of taking care of the family. And on the other hand, we do have some women entrepreneurs who've moved quite quickly and captured new business opportunities resulting from the crisis. I mean, I started my business in the middle of a crisis. So we're definitely stepping out of our comfort zone and entering the world of entrepreneurship. But starting online business requires little to no capital. You can do it anywhere at any time once you have the internet. So the pandemic definitely promoted virtual business opportunities, and it solved one of the issues that we have with limited access to capital. I do know a few women who stepped into the world of entrepreneurship, and it was only because of market opportunities that COVID offered. So virtual setting does promote equal opportunity and access to the market, but there are other factors that will affect women entrepreneurs and their ability to succeed. But with forums like this, we can promote women empowered in business, and it will definitely help in forming community for women entrepreneurs, especially in St. Lucia, and aid in further bridging that gap to create equal opportunity for the new normal of virtual business.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Marissa. That is actually a very good explanation of it. And we're happy that you have that sociology background that you can merge it into the, and ladies, this actually brings us to the end of the discussion. This was very informative. It was fun. It was light, and we learned from each other. Before we go to the questions, though, we just have a few questions, and I think we'll answer our audience in a bit. But I just want, if our lady entrepreneurs tonight have last words that they want to leave with the audience and aspiring entrepreneurs, that they can feel free to do so at this time. You could just wave or put on your mic and give your last words for this evening. Okay, Toya, let's hear.
What I like to see now in St. Lucia is that we have a lot of people, well, young women entering into the beauty industry in different ways, whether it be hairstylists, people who are creating wigs and installation of wigs, braiding, and just the beauty industry is expanding. It wasn't like this before in St. Lucia and also in the Caribbean. Now it has evolved in St. Lucia, and I love seeing a lot of young people. But what I would like to say is that I want them to approach it as a business instead of treating it as if it was some sort of tea boutique, for lack of a better word. It's nice to see that we have so many new MUAs and so many different people, skilled people within the beauty industry, but I would like them to take it up as a business, more of a business, and treat it as such and market it properly. I'm so happy that I'm not one of the only, at some point a few years ago, I was the only makeup artist in St. Lucia. And now we have so many, and I'm so happy about that. But I really want them to treat it as a business and treat themselves as a brand and look at it on a wider scale. As opposed to just, oh, I'm just doing makeup. No, it's a business. Treat it like that. If you treat it as a business, it will become that one source of income for you. So that's my advice.
Thank you, Toya. And as we have you on, I think somebody's asking, do you do makeup classes? So I guess you can answer them right away.
I do. I'm actually, my website is active, but I'm launching glamourbytoya.com in the next 2 weeks. But you can book the class through the website. There are different tiers of classes, from beginner to intermediate to advanced, all different sorts of classes, group sessions. I just introduced a wine and cheese class, where wine cheese is provided while it's like a party, so to speak. So the website has all that information, all my services, as well as face beats and all the other things that I provide, and as well as my other brands that I have under my belt. So you could check out glamourbytoya.com.
Us in this time.
Okay, so I do both virtual and one-on-one sessions. I do virtual classes through Zoom, and I do one-on-one personalized sessions.
Thank you so much, Toya. And any final words from you, Z? I can call you Z now. We're friends now. So any final words from you?
Yes, of course. Call me Z, Big Z, anything. I'm here for it. Well, yeah, I mean, what both Marissa and Toya have said are crucial elements to all of this and endeavoring on the road of an entrepreneur. I think as well as those things, you would certainly want to ensure that you are confident in anything that you do. Confidence gets you so far, boy. And be brave, believe in yourself. As I say, I've had from my experience, again, as purely where I'm coming from, and I've had some, ups and downs. I've had a very severe injury that caused me to reflect and do things that I would not do normally. So I think it starts from yourself, loving and appreciating yourself, being confident with yourself, and as well as that, surrounding yourself with the important people who truly believe in you. There's people who really support you, who want to see you do well. You can't do anything, but trust me. I consider myself very independent, and I know a lot of women out there, think they can do it on their own, but you really can't. And it's okay to get the help. It's okay to fall. It's okay to struggle. It is okay to be wrong. But the point is, once you're learning the lesson, you're guaranteed to succeed. And I would also want to add that it's important for us here to do these sort of have these discussions to encourage each other, to uplift each other. It's so important. It's amazing. Like, as I say, Toya and I are really, really good friends. He's like, he's very dear to me. And it's important to have people that you can call on to talk to them about absolutely anything, who can encourage you and uplift you and ensure and want to see you do good. So always surround yourself with the right people, have your faith, and be confident, be brave in everything that you do. So that would just be it for me. And let's continue to do these sort of things and encourage each other and women out there. And let's not forget the fellas, you know, the men as well. You know, we could always encourage them and show them a few things. So, you know, impart your knowledge all around. Sharing is a hell of a thing, and it makes you feel better about yourself.
Thank you, Z. And it's really good that you said this right now. We actually have a question in the chat. They're asking, so maybe there should be a woman entrepreneurship support group, and can that be created? So right there and then, I think you answered that question. And last but definitely not least, we love hearing from Marissa. Marissa, any final words from you today?
I agree 100% with everything Latoya and Z said. Just don't be discouraged. A lot of you would not believe in yourself, but I think you should. I think the hardest part is starting. Once you put yourself out there, then the sky is the limits.
Thank you, Marissa. And Marissa, as I have you on, we do have a question, and for all of the industries, actually, you know, how do you stay at the top of your game with your business? As a lot of people tend to copy ideas after they see an idea brought to fruition. So we're asking tonight, I guess, somebody's asking all the ladies, how do they stay on top of their game as people can copy ideas? So we have you right here, Marissa. We can probably start with you.
Well, copying ideas isn't something new in St.Lucia, but you have to make yourself different. Market your product in a different way. Put yourself out there completely different. Offer something different from what the other competitors are offering, even if it's the same thing that you are. And don't feel discouraged if someone basically stole your idea, but it should not make you not want to go ahead and further yourself. But just do you.
Thank you, Marissa. I agree. Do you, just do you. Ladies, we have one last question, and maybe Zinaida or Toya can help with this one. Somebody's asking for advice. What advice would you give a massage therapist given the situation of COVID, as it would be safe to open up business? So they're asking for a little advice as to what they can do in this time because they're a massage therapist. Oh, Toya, your mic is off. So maybe Toya.
Oh, I was saying that is a tough one because her job involves being very hands-on with an individual. She has to touch them. I'm in this. Well, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm in a similar field, but I have to be very close to your face. You have to take the necessary precautions. I purchased this. I have a face shield. I have a face mask. I have sanitizer. The only thing I don't have is a gown, but you have to take the necessary precautions in practicing, because if not, honestly, we have to learn how to live with COVID. It's not going anywhere tomorrow or next week or next. It's here, and unfortunately, this is our new normal. And I feel like we have to take the necessary precautions and move forward. No one expected this to happen, and it's here, and we just have to learn how to deal with it. But I had a situation with somebody who had a high temperature, and I had to turn them away. So, what to do?
There you have it. Ladies, thank you so much. I think we're right on the mark of an hour. I want to thank you so much for giving up your time. I know some of you are rushing from work. I know some of us are still here at the office. And so I just want to thank you so much, Zinaida, Marissa, and Latoya, for taking this time to share with us. It is the first panel discussion for web, so you've made history, and we definitely will be inviting you back, and you'll be hearing from us. Yeah. So thank you so much, ladies, and thank you to all our guests who actually took the time, logged in, asked questions. And for more information, everybody can also visit Boost St. Lucia, SAINTLUCIA.com for more information on the Incubator and Accelerator program for St. Lucia. Thank you, ladies, and we're out. Yay!
Bye!